is 5 on 20 News with Frank Powers
and Joel Foster, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. It's Friday, January 19th, and that means
Casual Friday. Woo! Ah, feels good.
Get out of here.
Let it all hang out. Let's get some of this for these studio lights.
Right.
Yes. So first, let's talk local headlines. Go.
All right, Arizona's education system received a D+ for school funding and the poverty achievement gap in an annual report issued by Education Week. The state ranked 45th among the 50 states and the District of Columbia, according to the report, with a score of 68.7. Don't feel so bad because the country as a whole didn't do so well either. Turns out we're a country of C students, which was the national average. In fact, only 12 states got a score higher than a C+. But maybe Education Week is just a tough grader. The report card measures 3 categories to determine the grades. Arizona earned a C in the Chance for Success category, which measures the poverty gap, which looks at parents' educational attainment, job longevity, and income. Arizona received a C- for the K-12 Achievement Index. The biggest hit for the state was school financing, where Arizona received a D-, placing 46th in the nation. Not good. The national average for this category was a C. Governor Doug Ducey has made education funding a priority for this coming year. Most of his $10.1 billion budget was earmarked for K-12 schools in the state. Hopefully this will boost our grade for next year. If not, Ducey can always call Education Week fake news.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right, it's easy.
I'll this, it feels like a C.
It does, yeah.
Doesn't it kind of feel like a C?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all right. Not working up to ability.
Exactly.
That's in the notes. That's in the notes for the old, the grade card for the America. All right, let's talk about this. The ACLU of Arizona wants changes to charter school admission policies and delivered 2,600 signatures to the Charter School Board on Tuesday. The group released recommendations for charter school changes in December, which included stopping a policy of asking students about their citizenship. They claim that the Arizona law states that citizenship can only be asked for after a student is enrolled and not before. Another issue was charter schools' enrollment practices. The ACLU studies the policies of 471 schools and found 6 that cap the number of special needs students taken, which is a violation of state and federal law. They also found that some charters refused to admit students who had previously been suspended, even though state law allows them to refuse only if a student had been expelled. The ACLU decided to go straight to the school board because they say that the state legislature was not likely to take action. Man, they really hit the nail on the head there. In response, the state legislator said, yeah, that sounds about right.
At least they're admitting to.
Yeah, it's good that they could self-assess.
Sure.
They got to self-assess. We all should self-assess once in a while.
Right, yeah, we're not doing that.
We can't all have the ACLU looking after us.
Exactly. All right, car insurance. Because a bill introduced by Republican State Senator Katie Brophy McGee would raise the minimum insurance requirements for Arizona drivers. Senate Bill 1075 would require all drivers to carry at least $25,000 to pay for injuries to one person, $50,000 for injuries to everyone involved, and $25,000 to cover property damage. If passed, the change would go into effect on January 1st, 2019. So far, the bill passed through the Senate Committee on Transportation and Technology and will next go to a full Senate vote. Currently, Arizona law requires that drivers have $15,000 for bodily harm, $30,000 for injuries to everyone, and $10,000 for property damage. McGee says that the current minimums haven't been updated since 1972, and they've failed to keep up with the modern-day costs of automobile accidents. She said that typical accidents in Arizona cost more than $1.5 million, with medical bills costing about $93,000, according to the Arizona Department of Transportation. The bill would likely raise rates on the state's 5 million drivers. Premiums are estimated to increase about $91 per year. Hit-and-run accidents would remain free.
Oh, toot, look out. That's the way to do it.
One of the few free things remaining.
Yeah, I hear, isn't Geico moving here soon? And I think they're going to bring about 700 jobs. Maybe we'll get some employee discounts on some of the car insurance. Nice. Geico's coming to Tucson area. I believe it's happening.
Yeah, I heard that. All right.
It's happening.
Keep an eye out.
Watch for that car insurance. So Tucson-based restaurant El Guero Canelo received a James Beard Award for their famous Sonoran hot dogs. All right. The delicious bacon-wrapped dogs were given one of 5 awards for 2018's America's Classics from the James Beard Foundation. Owner Daniel Contreras began with a plain hot dog stand, serving the street food he grew up eating in Hermosillo, Sonora. He now owns 3 El Guero Caneo, I want to make sure I'm saying that. How do I say that, Joel?
El Guero Canelo.
El Guero Canelo. Okay, locations around Tucson. 4 other restaurants won the award, including Sunwa Restaurant in Chicago, Boston Pizzeria Galleria Umberto, and Los Hernandez, a tamale restaurant in Yakima County, Washington, and the Vietnamese restaurant Dung Fung Bakery in New Orleans. According to the group, the James Beard Award recognized culinary professionals for excellence in their fields and furthers the foundation's mission to celebrate, nurture, and honor chefs making America's food culture more delicious, diverse, and sustainable for everyone. The winners will be celebrated at the annual James Beard Foundation Awards Gala in May at the Lyric Opera of Chicago. Eating Sonoran dogs in the Opera House? What could be more Tucson?
Right?
That's right. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Way to represent Tucson.
I appreciate it. So now, in national and international news.
All right, bad news ahead. The government looks headed towards a shutdown as lawmakers failed to pass a short-term spending bill before a deadline at midnight tonight. Clock is ticking. Republicans are already looking to blame Democrats for the shutdown, having coined it the Schumer shutdown after Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. However, a Washington Post poll found that 48% thought that Trump and the Republicans would be held responsible for a shutdown. Only 28% thought the blame should go to Democrats. And it isn't only Democrats who oppose the short-term spending measure. Libertarian-leaning Republicans such as Rand Paul, along with Republicans Lindsey Graham and others, say that Congress can't afford to kick the rock down the road another month. They say Congress should pass a long-term bill that funds the government throughout the year. Funny concept. The House passed a short-term spending bill that extends government funding for a month to give negotiators more time to work on a long-term deal. The emergency spending deal extends funding for the Children's Health Insurance Fund, or CHIP, which provides aid to low-income families and was just about to run out of money. Sorry, kids, you don't get health care because the chubby orange man wants his wall.
Amazing.
You know?
The chubby orange man. Is that how we got to refer to him, to children?
Yeah.
That's probably a way to do it. He's like the inverse of Santa Claus. He just shows up and he just wants to take it with his tiny hands. He's just going to take it all the way. All right. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the U.S. troops will stay in Syria after the battle against ISIS is completed. Tillerson said that, because it's just going to complete one day, like it's a board game.
Yeah.
Tillerson said that staying in Syria helps ensure that the Trump administration does not repeat what he described as mistakes by former President Barack Obama, or as I like to say, Barack Obama. But Barack Obama, who withdrew troops from Iraq and Libya before the countries had stabilized. There were about 2,000 American troops in Syria last month. This is the first time an administration official has said that the U.S. would stay in Syria. It also marks a further push away from the Trump's populist message on the campaign trail, where he vowed to pull our military out of foreign wars. On the campaign trail, Trump said that, at some point, we cannot be the policeman of the world, and then probably went on to say how great he was. Guess we're not at that point yet, though. Tillerson said the military commitment in Syria was, quote, condition-based. Is that what that says? Yeah, condition-based, and not indefinite. We're assuming these conditions have to do with the letting U.S. businesses and industry into the country, but that's just a hunch. Tillerson said that Tillerson laid out 5 key goals in Syria, ensuring that ISIS and al-Qaeda never reemerge, supporting the UN-led political process, diminish Iran's influence, make sure the country is free of nuclear weapons of mass destruction, help refugees return, and to build that wall. That's what's probably going to happen there. Tillerson ended the speech by saying that we cannot allow history to repeat itself in Syria. Yes, because we've never tried, occupying a country before, except for Afghanistan. Oh, and Iraq, and Vietnam, and the Philippines. Okay, well, we tried that before, worked so well. What could possibly go wrong?
It'll be fine.
Yeah,
they'll love it.
Yeah.
All right. 60% of top-ranking diplomats of the State Department have left, according to a report by McClatchy. The report also states that the number of people seeking to join the Foreign Service has decreased, with applications dropping by half, according to numbers from the American Foreign Service Association. Last week, John Feely, the ambassador to Panama, quit after the president reportedly called a number of poor countries shithole countries. I'm sure you heard about that. Yeah.
Who said such a thing?
our president.
Oh, my word.
Feely said that, quote, given what happened in the last few days, people are wondering how they're going to be effective in an environment like this. Other officials have reportedly questioned whether they can serve productively after Trump's statements. My guess is probably not.
Yeah. The fact when something drops by half, you know you're in trouble. Okay? Just ask Harvey Weinstein. So the Senate passed a bill that renews the National Security Agency's warrantless internet surveillance program for 6 years with minimal changes. The bill has been criticized by privacy rights advocates who say that the program invades Americans' right to privacy. The legislation easily passed the House last week and was signed into law today by the president. A coalition of liberal Democrats and libertarian-leaning Republicans opposed the law and wanted to change certain aspects of the surveillance program, which was brought to light by NSA contradictor Edward Snowden. Remember him? Mm-hmm. The bill reauthorizes Section 702 of Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA. Excuse me. The section allows the NSA to gather information from foreigners overseas, but can also incidentally collect unknown amounts of American communication. It allows the NSA to eavesdrop on digital communications from American companies such as Verizon, Facebook, and Google. Probably heard of some of them. Mm-hmm. If an American happens to be talking to a foreigner under surveillance, then their communications also get swept up, which is what the coalition opposes. However, the White House and U.S. intelligence agencies claim the program is important for national security. The only change to the program occurs when the FBI seeks emails related to an existing criminal investigation that has no relevance to national security. Privacy advocates claim that the change ends up giving more protections to criminal suspects than ordinary Americans caught up in the program's surveillance. This makes, since a criminal suspect was elected as our president,
Right.
Big criminal suspect. Yeah. I believe The Simpsons also warned us about this one, by the way, long before Snowden did a thing.
Sure.
In the movie, not even just an episode, in the movie.
True,
so,
yeah. The lesson here is commit a crime.
Yeah, and watch The Simpsons so you know what you can get away with in the future.
Absolutely. They'll tell you what's up.
It's true.
All right. Only a few companies plan to give workers a raise or bonuses following the passing of the Republican tax reform, according to a CNBC survey. CNBC contacted companies that make up the S&P 100 to determine which would use their gains from the bill to boost worker pay or increase domestic investment. Out of the 100 companies, only 9 said that they would use the money saved from corporate tax cuts to increase worker pay or invest in charitable causes.
Trickle down.
Trickle down, baby.
Yeah.
21 companies responded with no comment, while the 21 others responded with generic statements that didn't commit to anything. The 9 companies who committed to boost worker pay included Walmart, Wells Fargo, Comcast, Boeing, Bank of America, PNC Financial, and U.S. Bancorp. Just 2, Walmart and Wells Fargo, said that they would raise worker pay. Boeing said it would boost domestic investment by an additional $300 million. Goldman Sachs, Verizon, Walgreens, and Intel said that they were still analyzing the bill and would decide in an announcement in the coming weeks. Earlier this week, the health insurer Humana said that it would raise the hourly minimum wage for all employees as a result of the tax plan. The bill lowered corporate tax rate, with Republicans saying that this would allow companies to raise worker pay and hire more workers. What a shock that these big corporations didn't follow through on their promises. Really shocking.
Yeah.
In related news, the sky is still blue, water is still wet, and Congress is still terrible.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly terrible. So, speaking of allegedly terrible, the Trump administration, popular these days, created new religious and moral protections for health workers on Thursday that protect workers who have moral objections to certain procedures like abortion or assisted suicide. The Department of Health and Human Services announced that it will create a new division under the Office of Civil Rights responsible for investigating complaints filed by workers claiming that their employees violated their religious rights. In the past, the OCR mainly focused on patient safety and privacy concerns. OCR Director Roger Servino said that no one should be forced to choose between helping sick people and living by one's deepest moral and religious convictions. Workers who say they experienced discrimination because they refused to Workers who say they experienced discrimination because they refused to participate in special medical procedures can now file a complaint with the office. Servino said that his office received 34 complaints since Trump took office. Democrats and other critics worry that changes could restrict access to health care for some. The ACLU also announced that it would take legal action against the ruling. Louise Melling, Deputy Legal Director of the ACLU, said that denying patients health care is not liberty. Also on Friday, Trump called on Congress to vote on a 20-week abortion bill that has already been passed by the House. From the Rose Garden, Trump spoke live via satellite video, asking that the Senate vote on the bill, which further appeals to his pro-life base. The bill has little chance of passing the Senate, where Republicans have a smaller majority than the House. In the speech, Trump said that, "Under my administration, we will always defend the very first in the Declaration of Independence, and that is the right to life. We are protecting the sanctity of life and the family and the foundation of our society." Because if anyone represents the sanctity of life, it's a guy who wants endless war in the Middle East and is slowly bringing on environmental apocalypse, all while punishing his own body with whatever it is that he eats every day. Ugh.
Burgers in bed.
Yeah, the last thing I want to ever say is just his body. Ugh. Don't make me visualize his body and golfing in a white shirt, bending over, getting a ball. Ugh, stop. Burgers in bed, though.
Burgers in bed.
America.
All right, I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about the program you're watching right now. Here at 5 on 20, we're undertaking a new kind of citizen journalism. We're going to give you the news as we see it.
Boom.
And we want more people to speak up with us. We need writers, hosts, anchors, camera people, sound people, everybody. The times require a new way of informing ourselves. So join us. Do it. Do it now. Email us at info@creativetucson.org to get involved. And if you think there's a story we're missing, a person we should interview, an upcoming event we should cover, of any news tips for us, again, shoot us an email at info@creativetucson.org. We're here for you, and we want to cover all stories from all points of view. So don't be strangers.
Heck yeah, it's a good message. It's a good message. Follow up, follow through. Write an email and come get involved. We've done lots of fun things. Also, you know what's a good thing to promote?
What's that?
Previous episodes of all the stuff we've done. Go take a look back. Casual Friday is the best. We do 5 on 20 news every single day.
Yep.
I believe Andrew Explains It All is on Monday. That's one of the best things ever.
Yep.
As well as some of the other programs going on around the channel. On our YouTube, go like, share, subscribe, especially hit that subscribe button. Maybe even hit that notifications button so you don't miss a thing. So this was 5 on 20 News with Frank Powers.
And Joel Foster.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube account, like I was just saying, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all the latest Creative Tucson news and content. You can also feel free to get in touch with us at info@creativetucson.org. Anything coming up after this? Anything you're up to?
Not today.
Not today, not this week?
We'll be back. Mediocrity will be next week.
Yeah, but last week's This Week in Mediocrity was excellent. We talked about all the shitholes in the nation and around the world. So it was pretty good. Unlock that word. It's a phenomenal time. So go check that back. Thanks for watching. Stay creative, Tucson.